Outsmart AI in 2030 by 2030. A. I won't just be a tool you use. It will be your competitor, standing across from you in every arena of life, whether it's your job, your business, or even your daily decisions. Right now, it writes essays, designs, ads, solves problems in seconds. But that's only the beginning. The real fear isn't that AI will get smarter. It's that people will get lazier, more dependent, and hand over their authority piece by piece until they realize too late that they've been replaced. Not just in the workplace, but in their ability to think, create, and lead. We've already seen glimpses of it, jobs being automated, content being generated, decisions being outsourced to algorithms that don't know you, don't care about you, and don't live with the consequences of the choices they make for you. And here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't learn how to command AI, it will command you. But there is a secret, one that the powerful few already know. You don't need to fight AI, and you don't need to fear it. What you need is to master the one thing AI can never replicate: human authority, creativity, and purpose. That's what separates those who thrive in the age of machines from those who vanish in its shadow. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to do exactly that. How to outsmart AI in 2030, not by resisting it, but by rising above it. Right now, AI feels like a gift. It writes your essays, answers your emails, summarizes books, designs graphics, and even spits out business plans in seconds. It saves time, it saves effort, it makes life easier, and that's exactly the problem. Convenience always comes with a hidden cost. The more people hand their thinking to machines, the weaker their own thinking becomes. Every time you let AI finish your thought, you train your brain to stop pushing, stop questioning, stop creating, and slowly, without even realizing it, you become passive. You start depending on a tool that was meant to serve you, until one day you find yourself serving it instead. By 2030, this gap will be impossible to ignore. On one side, you'll have the masses, millions of people who rely on AI for everything, who trust the output blindly, who don't question the process or the purpose. They'll be efficient, yes, but shallow. They'll be fast, but powerless. On the other side, you'll have the few who learn to control it, who use AI as leverage instead of leaning on it like a crutch. And those few will dominate the future, not because AI gave them the answers, but because they knew how to direct it with authority. The difference between surviving and thriving won't be access to AI. Everyone will have access. The difference will be mastery. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. AI is fast, but it is blind. It can analyze patterns, but it cannot give those patterns meaning. It can predict what comes next, but it cannot tell you why it matters. It can process data, but it cannot create destiny. And that is where most people will fail. They will confuse speed with wisdom, output with insight, convenience with vision. They'll assume that because AI can generate, they no longer need to create, and that assumption will cost them everything. This is not the first time humanity has faced this kind of trap. Every major invention, the printing press, the internet, social media, created a divide between those who consumed and those who commanded. The consumers became overwhelmed and distracted. The commanders became wealthy, powerful, and influential. AI is no different, except the stakes are higher. It's not just information at risk, it's identity, authority, and purpose. If you allow AI to think for you, eventually it will define you. And once that happens, You're no longer the author of your own life. You're just the byproduct of an algorithm. That's why the problem isn't AI itself. The problem is us. The problem is that most people will choose the comfort of convenience over the discipline of authority. They'll hand over the steering wheel because it's easier than learning to drive. But the few who refuse to do that, the ones who learn how to command AI instead of being commanded by it, those will be the ones who thrive in 2030 and beyond. This is where everything changes. Outsmarting AI isn't about learning how to code or building the next big algorithm. It's not about becoming more machine-like. It's about leaning into what makes you human, mastering the things AI cannot. Machines are incredible at imitation, but they cannot originate. They take from what already exists, remix patterns, and serve it back. But they will never breathe life into something brand new the way a human spirit can. I can predict, but it cannot perceive. It can guess what comes next in a sentence, in a trend, in a data set. But it cannot sense the unseen, the emotional undercurrent, the spiritual weight behind a decision. That edge belongs to you, and if you lose it, you've lost the one advantage that keeps you irreplaceable. The secret is simple. Authority is greater than automation. Authority is what gives you control over the tools in your hand. Automation is just the execution. If you live only in automation, you become a servant to the system. But when you lead with authority, when you know what to ask, where to aim, and how to direct, you make automation your servant. The Bible says it this way: the borrower is slave to the lender. If you only consume what AI gives you, you are its borrower, its slave. But when you approach it with clarity, when you give it specific commands shaped by your vision, it becomes the lender, the worker, the tool in your hands. Even psychology backs this up. AI can simulate patterns of thought, but it cannot replicate the deeper layers of human intelligence: creativity, intuition, moral authority. Creativity is not just rearranging data. It's pulling something out of nothing, birthing a concept that never existed before. Intuition is not just a hunch. It's the mind's ability to process thousands of subtle cues and experiences instantly, something no machine has lived enough to understand. And moral authority, the ability to stand on values, to make decisions that matter beyond efficiency, is something no algorithm can calculate. So the real shift is this: stop trying to beat AI at its own game. It will always be faster, more precise, and more tireless, but it will never be wiser. It will never be purposeful. It will never carry the weight of human vision. Outsmarting I mean stepping fully into your role as the one with authority, the one who sets direction, the one who chooses meaning. Let AI run the numbers, but never let it define your destiny. The way to outsmart AI is not by outworking it or outcalculating it. That's a battle you'll lose every time. The secret is to position yourself differently, to lean into what AI cannot do, and to sharpen the edges that make you uniquely human. Here's the step-by-step path. The first step is command clarity. Most people don't realize this, but AI only gives back the quality of what you feed it. If your questions are vague, the answers will be shallow. If your prompts are generic, the output will be forgettable. The people who will win in 2030 are not those who ask AI to think for them, but those who know how to direct it with precision. That means writing instructions so sharp, so specific, that the machine bends toward your vision. Clarity is authority in action. When you know exactly what you want, You can make AI serve that outcome instead of letting it drift into randomness. The second step is leverage AI as a tool, not a crutch. There's a big difference between letting AI expand your reach and letting it replace your responsibility. A tool in the hands of a master builds something extraordinary. A tool in the hands of someone unskilled becomes a shortcut that leads to mediocrity. If you rely on AI to think for you, you erase the very thing that makes you valuable. But if you use AI to multiply what you've already created, to draft faster, to test ideas, to scale your vision, you stay in control. The line is clear. Use AI to enhance your voice, not erase it. The third step is anchor in human authority. Machines can generate sentences, images, and simulations, but they cannot create the essence of trust, story, and conviction. Authority is not built on output. It's built on presence. People don't follow data. They follow leaders. They don't remember statistics. They remember stories. They don't stay loyal to an algorithm. They stay loyal to a person who stands for something. If you want to outsmart AI, you have to double down on what makes you irreplaceable. Your perspective, your spirit, your moral conviction. These are things that cannot be coded. The fourth step is discernment over data. AI will flood the world with more information than ever before. By 2030, we'll be drowning in perfectly generated answers, summaries, and predictions. But information is not wisdom. Discernment is the skill that separates leaders from followers. It's the ability to cut through the noise, to spot what's relevant, and to recognize truth in the middle of endless options. AI can give you 10,000 possibilities, but only discernment will tell you which one aligns with your values, your vision, and your future. The person who develops discernment will never be replaced, because discernment can't be automated. It comes from lived experience and spiritual depth. The fifth step is tie to higher purpose. Machines don't have destiny. They don't have a why. They don't wake up with a fire in their soul to change the world. They only execute commands. But purpose is the human advantage, and it's the one thing AI will never have. If your work is tied only to efficiency, AI will eventually do it better. But if your work is tied to a mission, to a cause, to faith, to legacy, then AI can only serve as a tool to carry it forward, never as a replacement. Purpose gives direction. It gives weight. It gives meaning to everything you create. And meaning is the one thing a machine will never fully understand. Put these steps together and you'll see the pattern. Clarity directs AI. Authority positions you above it. Discernment protects you from being drowned by it. Purpose keeps you irreplaceable no matter how advanced it becomes. The people who master these skills won't fear the rise of machines in 2030. They'll be the ones pulling the strings. Think about Steve Jobs. People often described him as having a reality distortion field. What did that mean? It meant that his authority, his vision, and his belief were so strong that he could bend reality around him. He could walk into a room with an idea that looked impossible, and by the time he finished speaking, the people around him were convinced it was inevitable. Could AI replicate that? Number. AI could design the phone, write the code, even improve the user interface, but it could never make people believe. AI can paint a picture, but it cannot feel why that picture matters. Jobs' authority came from a human trait that machines will never own: conviction. History gives us another example: the printing press. When it first appeared, many feared it would destroy the role of writers, scribes, and thinkers. Why would anyone need a scribe if a machine could produce thousands of copies in the time it took one man to write one book? But that wasn't the end of writing. It was the beginning of a revolution. The printing press didn't erase the need for words. It multiplied them. It gave power to the people who adapted, who knew how to use the tool to spread their ideas wider and faster. And those who refused to adapt were left behind. The same is happening with AI today. It won't erase human creativity. It will expose who knows how to command it and who doesn't. Even in everyday life, the contrast is obvious. Two people can sit down in front of ChatGPT with the same access, the same tool, and the same potential. One will ask for quick answers, maybe to finish a homework assignment or draft an email, and then they'll stop there. The other will use it to build systems, launch products, scale businesses, and create opportunities that never existed before. Same tool, different results. The difference isn't the AI, it's the human authority behind it. This is why outsmarting AI is not about competing with what it can do. It's about leaning into what only you can do. History, innovators, and even our daily lives show the same lesson. Tools amplify power, but they do not create it. The printing press, electricity, the internet, and now AI. Every time. The winners weren't the ones who feared the tool, and they weren't the ones who consumed it passively. The winners were the ones who mastered it, directed it, and tied it to a bigger vision. This is where the danger becomes real. If you let AI think for you, it will eventually control you. At first it feels harmless. You ask it to write an email, it saves you 10 minutes. You ask it to summarize a book, it saves you hours. You ask it to draft a business plan, and suddenly you feel more capable, more efficient, more advanced. But underneath that convenience lies a trap. The more you outsource your thinking, the less capable you become of thinking deeply on your own. What feels like power is actually dependence. What feels like intelligence is actually erosion. This creates what I call false confidence. People will assume AI is making them smarter, when in reality, it's making them weaker. They'll confuse speed with mastery, outputs with insight. And by 2030, there will be entire groups of people who think they're thriving because AI is filling in the gaps for them. But strip away the tool, and they'll have nothing left. No originality, no authority, no independent vision. Just an echo of what the machine fed back to them. Here's the truth you have to hold on to. If your inner authority is empty, I will simply amplify that emptiness. It will take your lack of clarity and multiply it. It will take your confusion and make it louder. It will take your absence of vision and spread it faster. That's why so many people are already drowning in mediocre, copy and paste content. It all looks polished on the surface, but underneath, it's hollow. AI is not inherently evil, it's neutral. It magnifies whatever you give it, and that's exactly the warning. If you don't fill yourself with conviction, creativity, and clarity, I won't save you, it will expose you. The machine is a mirror. It doesn't add depth where there is none. It only reflects and scales what's already inside you. Which means the real danger isn't the rise of AI, it's the decline of human authority. So here's the bottom line. AI is coming fast, and by 2030, it won't just be a tool. It will be everywhere. But whether it becomes your servant or your master depends entirely on you. The future will not be decided by who has the best access to AI. because everyone will have access. The future will be decided by who has authority, who knows how to command the machine instead of being commanded by it. If you let AI think for you, it will hollow you out until there's nothing left but dependency. But if you rise above it, if you lead with clarity, discernment, and purpose, I will only amplify your strength. Here's my challenge. Tonight, write down one clear command that you want AI to serve in your life. Not a vague wish, not a lazy shortcut, an order, something that comes from your vision, your authority, your purpose. Then use the machine to carry it out. Don't just let it give you answers. Make it execute your direction. That's how you outsmart AI in 2030, not by resisting it, but by reminding it who's in charge. And if you're ready to master the rise of AI instead of being mastered by it, hit subscribe, because this is just the beginning. The future belongs to those who lead, not those who follow. And in this space, I'm going to show you exactly how to stay ahead.